All right, welcome back. I'm Eric Kane. One of my favorite family fantasy shows, fun for all ages, is The Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince has aired 3 seasons on Netflix. The third season came out late 2019, so we have not seen any more from that show in 3 years, except for a couple graphic novels and some work they've done on tabletop gaming and whatnot. Now, this is a show that was created by the head writer of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Aaron Ahas, and the former game director of Uncharted 3, Justin Richmond. They formed a company called Wonderstorm, which is working on this show as well as a video game and some other stuff. They have their new show or their new show video game hybrid Bonders coming up. If you haven't seen The Dragon Prince, I highly recommend it. It is a really charming, really fun, really colorful fantasy show that is actually quite complex. There's actually quite a lot of sort of gray morality going on. It's not grimdark like Game of Thrones, but it has those same complicated characters that aren't necessarily villains, but aren't really heroes either. There are definitely heroic figures in this show, don't get me wrong. Some of the main characters like Prince Ezrin and Callum, the Moonshadow Elf, Rayla, they're absolutely heroic figures. But the characters who we think of as the bad guys, like Viren, who's a human sorcerer, his daughter Claudia, who's also a mage, while they do bad things, you can empathize with them still. So there's and Claudia, for being a bad guy, is probably the funniest and most likable character on the whole show, actually. So they do a really great job of drawing complicated and believable characters set in, of course, a totally fantastical realm. Zadia, which has been divided for countless ages between East and West. East, where all the magical elves and dragons and other magical creatures live, and the West, which is the kingdoms of men, or humankind. So in the first 3 seasons, there's a full arc told about this sort of adventure, about the Dragon Prince, who we meet eventually during the first few seasons, and about sort of this effort to bring these two factions, the humans and the elves, and other magical creatures and dragons together in peace and harmony. That arc is essentially achieved in the first 3 seasons. The show could have pretty much ended there. But there is a lot more to tell of this story, including the story of the mysterious Star Touch elf, Erebos, who has been manipulating Viren, giving him power, all in this effort to be freed of his magical prison. We don't know a lot about Erebos, hence the mystery of Erebos, but that is the new arc for this show. And Netflix has renewed this show through 7 seasons, through its entire run. It's all planned out. They are making the seasons concurrently, so as this one's is about to air, other seasons are in various stages of production, which is great news, which means we don't have to wait 3 more years before the next season. Unless there's, a zombie apocalypse, alien invasion, World War III, or something else that throws the whole global timetable off. We'll worry about that later. Season 4 it's Book 4, Earth. Book 1 was Moon, Book 2, Sky, Book 3, Sun, and these are all tied to sort of the elves and the magic that we encounter in these seasons. So now in this one we have the Earthblood elves. But this season picks up 2 years after the end of season 3. The world is at peace, but it is a tenuous peace. It is a fragile peace. Old animosities exist. Old mistrusts exist between elves and humans. Their customs are very different. And it turns out that peace is often even harder to manage than war. War is simple. You go fight the bad guy. Peace, you have to work with the bad guy. The bad guy's not a bad guy anymore. It gets difficult, and that's where we find ourselves here. I won't spoil it. Suffice to say, it's interesting to see how this plays out. And I've only seen the first 4 episodes of season 4. There's 9 total, so I don't know where it's all headed. The first 4 episodes are very good, very enjoyable. The same characters that we know and love from the first 3 seasons are back. They're aged up some, which is weird in a cartoon. A lot of times, with cartoons like South Park or The Simpsons and so on and so forth, you see the characters pretty much never change. It's the case with a lot of animated shows. But here, Ezra and Callum, they're older. A lot of the characters have new hairdos, which is something you also don't see. They're wearing different clothes, doing different hairdos. And they've grown as people. They're a little bit older. Ezra has been king now for a couple years. Callum is the High Mage, and is deepening his understanding of magic. He's also sort of heartbroken because Rayla has disappeared and she's gone off on some sort of mysterious quest and kind of left him high and dry. Claudia has a new boyfriend named Terry. Terry's the Earthblood elf, and how is an elf going to help this dark magician? He seems like a really nice, affable character. What is he doing helping out Claudia, who is, who has, we've seen this because they've shown the trailers and stuff, has resurrected Viren after he's been dead for 2 years. She loves her father, and she's doing this all out of love, but they do bad things, and they've caused a lot of pain and suffering. So it'll be interesting to see how these characters all converge, and how this piece is tested in this season, and what they have to do to try to hold all that together, because it could fall apart. It's 2 years of peace is nothing compared to hundreds of years of division, right? And of Cold War, and before that, actual war, and of course, like the elves assassinated a human king, and so there's a lot going on here. And I'm very excited to see. I'm very excited we're back in Zadia. It's been 3 years, and it's a long time to wait between seasons of a show, especially because I think season 2 and 3 both came out in 2019, so they were like back to back, and then nothing. Nothing except for the good news that the show's been renewed. So I like this show because it reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It reminds me of these, it's one of these shows that you can watch with your kids, but still find a lot to enjoy yourself as a grown-up. Smaller kids will love the adorableness of Zim and Bait, the little grumpy cat lizard, and all the humor. Older kids and adults will enjoy the political side of things, the complicated characters, and it's all set in a beautiful magical world, with all these different kinds of elves, and it's just, it's a modern fantasy. It's an original fantasy. It's not one of these shows that's just trying to adapt somebody else's work. It's built from the ground up, doing its own thing, and it's a lot of fun. I'm excited to see the next 5 episodes. I'll have another follow-up review once I've seen the whole season, see how it plays out. And the great news is according to Wonderstorm, yeah, there won't be that much longer to wait for the next season. We're gonna get these much quicker than the gap between seasons 3 and 4. So let me know what you think of the Dragon Prince in the comments below. And thank you for watching. Peace. Oh, and like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. Peace.